Friends, we're back at it. It's your tarot dad, and here I am doing this daily card pull. We're starting the week off right. Let's go. Every time I accidentally catch a look at the cards, I see the Hierophant, which feels like a threat. It's not, but boy, does it feel like it. All right, folks, here we go. I think we've shuffled enough. Now that we've gotten a bajillion shuffles in. Oh, okay. Two of Swords. This is a very cool card that I've never pulled before. Yay! New card. Bam, 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 bam. New card. New. All right, here we go, folks. All right, so Two of Swords. I'm just going to go ahead and go off of the art here, what it looks like to me, and this will just give me a fun chance to be wrong when I read the upright. That's happened before. But also, here's the fun thing. You can't be wrong. So whatever you get at it by looking at it, that's right for you. You know what I mean? I think that's really what these are for. But again, we can break this down. Swords, as we know, are human tools. They're intellect. Really, that's the long and short of it. Intellect, words, things that humans use, right? They are sharp. They are cutting. They can be really useful. They can get you where you are trying to go. They can communicate. They can make deals. They can express one's self, right? So a lot to be done here with swords. Within this Two of Swords, you know, two so often can be a pair, right? It can be options, it can be choices, it can be things coming along with each other. It can be both sides of the sword, which I think is interesting. The other thing to kind of take note of here is that we've got a couple twos, right? We've got our two swords in two hands that are crossed, I will say. Then we also have the two rocks kind of showing up out of the ocean there. So that feels pertinent to point out for us. This person who is sitting here holding these two swords is blindfolded, which tells me that they are internal, right? They are thinking about themselves. They have two swords, two tools, two words or pieces of intellect in either hand. These are crossed, which to me would suggest that we're kind of seeing them make an intersection, right? We're either seeing this as a crossroads here of sorts, or we are seeing a decision to be made. We are seeing kind of a weighing of options. This person has the covering over their eyes. This can call forth for me the images of justice in the scales. So I do think that there is some sort of thinking going here, right? Which is no shock considering that we're talking about swords. You probably are sitting with this week kind of weighing different paths that you could go down. You are wondering which tools to use as you are going through on your journey. They are already up in the air. They are pointed up to the sky. They are ready to be used, but with no intention of using them, I would say. This feels very contemplative to me. This feels like solitude. This feels like Luke Skywalker in one of those newest Star Wars movies where he's off on the island by himself, kind of hermiting, right? That's what this feels a little bit like to me, where we are sitting by the ocean. We are listening to the water. We are weighing choices that we could make, tools that we could use, ways that we could go about something, right? That's not surprising to me, in that I think we all have a lot of weighing going on. We all have a lot of things that we are thinking about all the time, different options that we are trying to choose between. So this is not a surprise that we would pull this card. We can see the moon coming up over the shoulder. This is either a sunset, right? But I would actually argue that this is probably the morning, when you can see the kind of white shadow of the moon off in the distance in the sky. This is, again, really calling forth a lot of contemplation to me. I do want to call out the contemplation without action piece. To me, this card calls forth a waiting, a sitting, a thinking, a pondering, a weighing. I know I keep touching on that, but it does feel really pertinent to me that these things that are so usable, that are so effective, that can cut so heavily, we are purely thinking about, right? They're in our hands, but without our sight. They are poised and ready, but without any direction. Truly, they are pointing in different directions. These two things would take us different ways. I do want to point out the double-sidedness, as always, of these swords, and that they could take us two different ways, but they also kind of inherently uncrossed can take us the same way and can cut both ways, right? So this way is not always a singular way that we might be choosing. It is more of a an idea that we're choosing to use, right? I keep talking about this as if it's a path, but it's not. It's more a choice, something inside, something that you're weighing, some piece of intellect or words or communication that you are trying to use here. You're trying to find the right one. What is going to serve you best here? So we might find ourselves as we're going throughout our day to be really conscious of when we are moving without thought, when we are slicing without thought, when we're cutting without thought, when we're moving impulsively, right? That is what this card is calling forth for me, rather than, it's possible that you have two choices that you're weighing, two kind of ideas that you could use, two ways that you could go about a thing. What I would argue this card is doing is telling you to sit and think, to stop slicing, to stop using the tools that they're not just for using. They are also for pondering. They are also for the idea of what they are, as much as they are the impact of what they are, right? So where is the idea of this word, this piece of wisdom that you might be using? Like, where is it more about the idea of it and less about the impact of it? So I would be thinking about that as we're going through. Maybe think about what other swords you could pick up here to test out, right? I would certainly strongly urge all of us to see this as a take a beat card, to understand what your options are, and more importantly than understand your options, understand the impact of the sword that's in your hand, right? Really think about the impact of the sword that's in your hand. Be thinking about what using them would actually mean. The company line here, upright, is difficult decisions, weighing up options, and impasse, avoidance, right? Reversed is indecision, confusion, information overload, stalemate. The impasse piece. And that's not to say, I think impasse is maybe the wrong word, but I'm going to keep kind of keying in on the moment of ponderance, the room for thought, the ability to consider here. Less of being at an impasse, more of being in a moment of consideration, right? Because you have the two swords. You can use either one. You could use both of them, right? They are not stale. They're not sitting here incapable of being used. You are choosing not to use them. The action is them in your hands. They are ready. You are not using them. You are instead choosing the moment to dive within yourself to consider what the impact of both of them might be. So as we're going through our day today, really be thinking about what are the tools that you're using? How is communication going with other folks? Is it going well? Has it been thought about? Is the communication piece... how is it cutting? How are your words cutting? What is the impact of them? And more importantly than the actual actions of them, be thinking about moving forward, right? What are our actions moving forward? What is the impact of using these words moving forward? How can we choose carefully between these two things? Again, all consideration, all thought, all rumination, all room for us to be thinking about what these could mean for us rather than what they do mean for us in this moment. Something to consider as we're going through today. I hope this is helpful for y'all. This is a really, no pun intended, eye-opening card here for me, and that I think, as always, these cards are so funny in that they just are able to put their finger right on some stuff all the time. And I hope y'all are having that feeling too. And I hope that feeling is serving you and you're gaining something from it. So thanks for showing up here. Thanks for joining me. Glad we're starting a new week together. I'll be looking forward to doing more of these as we come into the remaining days of this week. Y'all take care of yourselves and others. Terror Dad is out.